Konami.
That's right.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know Konami made this game?
Actually, I think I did, but now it's like, now that I haven't, like I said, I haven't played this one in a while, so now seeing the Konami, it's like, wow, that's right. Okay.
That voice sample is iconic, and I will never forget it in my life.
1988, man.
Dusty, you are back on my territory. Previously, street hockey and television, that's your territory.
Yeah, the bad games.
But this is a good game, and therefore, it is my game. We're playing Blades of Steel for the Nintendo Entertainment System, made by Konami, as you rightfully pointed out. This is arguably my favorite hockey game. Maybe that's a little heretical to say, given my professed love for NHL '94.
I was gonna say that's a pretty bold statement to go back in time for as your favorite hockey game.
Yeah, I think it just very well might be my favorite hockey game. And of course, I'm playing as Minnesota, which is purple, but they're the North Stars.
Wow, no, this is interesting. There's no Detroit.
There is no Detroit because in this timeline, Detroit is a bombed out wreckage.
You think so?
Little known fact.
So this is like a post-apocalyptic hockey game?
Blades of Steel, ironically enough, takes place in the Death Stranding universe. And
oh man,
you didn't know this, but actually, I know you're a big Death Stranding fan. But little known fact, Detroit is the only place that got destroyed, and the whole game takes place in Detroit, not in America. Yeah,
amazing.
So this is an iconic game for a whole bunch of reasons, including the fact that for arguably the first time, it made hockey look like it somewhat looks like on television, from the sort of opening skate to the fact that there's a jumbotron as you see now, and there's music and organ music, and there's fans, and there's an announcer, a broadcaster and a referee. All of these things are big fucking deals.
This is one of my look at that. It went in.
Well, I would call it beginner's luck, but actually I'm pretty good at this game.
Look at okay. So I haven't played this game in years. It's interesting because this was one of the first sports games I ever played.
Right.
That at least I can remember.
Yeah.
This side view has stuck with me forever. Like,
so remember, you also are controlling your goalie.
Yeah.
So you see where the arrow is. That's where you got to remain.
That's so.
And then if you bump into me a bunch of times, we fight.
So
that's checking basically.
Oh, look at that! Yep.
See, look at this.
Yep.
This is what we in the industry call a fucking video game.
Look at this.
Unlike the other games,
See?
and of course, just like in the real world,
look at how strong
the referee just drags your rotting corpse off the ice.
Okay, wait. How do I shoot here?
Shooting is A.
Okay, so circle for the PlayStation.
Circle for our PlayStation fans, yeah.
Okay.
Circle for PlayStation, shoot, and then X is to pass.
So the whole thing of the controlling of the goalie is actually, it gets problematic if you're not on the ball with that.
Yeah.
Because already I'm like, that should have not happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm launching bombs from the blue line.
Look at they're all like electrified hockey players.
That's right.
Look at that. Look at that.
Sometimes
what's going on?
Sometimes when we play hockey games, people have said, Falstaff, you're just so good at hockey games. And I say, yes, I am good at hockey games. But also, Dusty's not very good at hockey games.
I think with the sports stuff, aside from it, like I've said in the past, if it's not NBA Street or I need time to get used to the controls. But you want to know what's weird? Oddly enough, I'm really good at fighting games, though.
You are very good at fighting games. And
I don't know why.
I am awful at fighting games.
Let's see how good I am, though, in the fighting. Oh, okay, so you got me on that one. I like that you do see the... Okay, so you got to be aware. Here's the thing with this game. You have to be okay. Look at that, though, man. You got to be okay with... You have to train yourself to just be like, forget about the puck, forget about the players, and now I have to be the goalie.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with this game.
So like the meta of this game, if you will, is to make sure that your player comes back when you're in front of the net all alone, when your opposing team is in front of the net all alone with the puck. Because if you get into the habit of letting rebounds go, you're in real trouble, because you can't. It's very difficult to control your goalie and your defenders at the same time.
This is a fast game.
It is, and there's a real sense of speed to it that doesn't exist in the other games, like ice hockey or I think it was just hockey for the NES. There's a real challenge to this game, which I really, really like, and I think that it's one of the first sports games that have like a serious amount of depth to it.
Well, just alone,
no small feat, you know.
The whole thing they really put an emphasis on the goalie, which, I mean, in past games, like, I've always complained, I'm like, this goalie sucks. Why can't I have more control? This is almost like there's too much control.
Yeah.
Where, like, if this was your jam, and if you were, like, you know, playing it consistently, you would be aware of it. But if you're not, it would be something where you're like, oh man, I gotta really train myself here to get.
Well, to peek a little bit behind the curtain, we just, you know, surprise, surprise, we record multiple versions of these Hat-Trix podcasts, long plays on the same day. And we just finished playing ice hockey for the Intellivision. And, you know, obviously, unlike ice hockey, which there's only one type of goal, which is the rebound, here you could see multiple ways in which that could happen, because the goalies aren't these sort of like autonomous creatures who are just like blocking everything. Here, the challenge of controlling both your players and the goalie, you know, the risk reward of like, do you go for that? Did I go for that open puck, or do I get my goalie in a good position? You know, it creates actual gameplay depth, which, you know, I think is underrated, really.
Well, it's like, imagine going from a game like, you know, an Intellivision or an Atari hockey game, and then going to this. Like, this is crazy fast.
It's
exciting.
It's silky smooth as well.
Man, see, that's the thing. Again, I'm like,
but like, look at the audience. Look at their movement.
The crowd looks great. The ice is a little gray.
It is a little gray, but my initial thing, like, it's not like they can't do the color white. I think that's a lot of white. Like, that's a really, really bright screen.
So why do you think they would make it gray, though?
I think it's literally what I just said. I think it's like, well, number one, I think it helps with the player outlines. Wow. If you have the player outlines,
yeah, I can see that.
But then also, I think it's, I mean, I sometimes play the new NHL games. You know, once every couple of years, I'll buy it, and especially on the PS5 with like HDR lighting, that ice surface is extremely bright, like to the point where I'll have to like lower the dimming settings on my television.
I can see that.
Yeah, it's great though. I think one of the things that the NES generation of games, the NES and the Sega Master System, although, you know, clearly not as popular a system amongst people that we know, clearly has its games looking like they're starting to mature. Like, this looks like hockey. It feels like a version of hockey, even if not the version that some of us will have played, you know?
Well, it's like, if you do think about, like, just for example, like NHL 93 for Super Nintendo or 94.
Yeah.
The ice, you could start to see that they were putting some great, like, gradation on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was not just white. And I feel like maybe with this, they're like, you know what? So we don't burn people's, you know, TV screens out. Let's do it this gray. It is, but it is strange though that it is so gray.
Yeah. Also, I wonder whether or not, like, again, peeking behind the curtains, we are playing this on like a 55 something odd inch LED.
Big ass JVC.
Yeah, exactly. We're not playing it on, a television.
HD Toshiba.
Yeah, well, we're not playing it on like the televisions that like you had to like kneel on the floor, kneel in front of on like an ottoman or something in order to play. Oh, what a goal!
See,
slots it in the corner. Look at that Selly too, just fist pumping. Everyone's surrounding him like he's at a high school dance party. That's That's the power. Now you're playing with Nintendo power.
They do one hell of a celebration after, like the game does stop and you can't check the players, but at least in like
you can bump into them and you can knock them down. Like here, I'm like knocking you.
Well, no, like for when you cheer, when you celebrate. Like I know in NHL '94. Oh man!
See, what do? Do you get your defender going, or do you commit yourself to?
It leaves a bit of a pocket there, doesn't it? To like,
there's a real strategy that like look at that.
Man,
like,
wow.
Gameplay.
Oh man!
See, they invented gameplay in 1988. Little known fact.
Icing.
Yeah.
So they have the rules. Are you broken? Are you broken?
He glitched. He ticked.
Friggin' glitched out.
Yeah. What's going on? Oh, you gotta come back. He's gotta take the face off. All right, fair enough. Face off. Brilliant. Brilliant. You know, human announcers. Listen.
He's no Ron Barr, but...
Boom! But the synthesized version of whatever this referee is, he walked so Ron Barr could run. That's how I feel. And then once your player gets like... once your player starts like spitting chiclets, he gets dragged off the ice so that he can get his corpse revived.
I do, like, I love the artwork. Like, I love the sprites.
Yep. Oh, no. I have no idea how that
He's so mad. I was gonna say, this is like totally off topic, but like the fighting frame, that would just look like cool on a t-shirt. Or something.
Now you have to take this idea, you need to mail it to yourself. This way everyone knows that it's our idea.
Well, because it's just... I don't think that's true. I tried that copyright thing where you gotta mail something.
Well, needless to say, it's not,
just talk to a lawyer.
I'm pretty sure Konami would have a say. I mean, while they're too busy running their health spas and their pachinko parlors, maybe they don't really care about the.
Do they have a health spa?
In Japan, anyway. Yeah.
You know, so here's the thing, and I'll make a brief comment. It's like, so when you look at a company, for example, like Taito.
Yep.
Like Taito, in terms of like North America, doesn't really have a big presence here, aside from like the games that we know them to be associated with, like Bubble Bobble, like whatever, right?
Yeah, that series of puzzle games.
So like I recently watched a video on YouTube where, you know, there was a gentleman going around and he went to like the Taito store and the Taito.
Oh, right.
And like, dude, like in Japan, like what those companies are to us here, over there, they have massive presence, right? Like, you would never think here that Taito is a force to be reckoned with, but like, over there, Taito, you're talking about the guys who made Space Invaders, which at one point...
Oh.
Damn.
Not a good goal.
They were like, they had one of the biggest games on the market, right? So it's like, Taito is a force to be reckoned with, so it's like, maybe like the Konami that we know, it's like, whatever over here, but maybe over there, for them, they're still like, no, Konami's doing great. They have health spas and they have pachinko machines, but like, I don't care about that. Like, is it just to survive or to like do the video games now?
They stopped making video games for a good long time, and they weren't publishing anything. I mean, they even gave up on like the Pro Evolution Soccer series. They had like their last version was like eFootball PES 2020, and
that's so sad.
And then I think they went to a free-to-play model. So I mean, you know, the Konami of this era of video games is practically non-existent. But then again, so are so many of the game companies from this era. You know, for better or for worse, like companies like Atlas are gone, or not Atlas, Titus. I think it was called Titus.
Yeah, Titus, the fox face.
Fox face with the buck teeth, and you know, a lot of those game companies are gone. Like Acclaim is gone, and Midway is gone, and they've just been consolidated. And I mean, you look at like their IPs have been purchased. I mean, you look at Atari as an example. What is Atari now? Like there was people bought the names and tried to do some Bitcoin hotel crap.
They're surprisingly, so they're doing okay. Like they just had their 50th anniversary, and
well, the brand had their 50th anniversary.
The brand had the 50th anniversary. I know what you mean. Atari is a little bit scattered here and there. And I know like with the whole like Activision thing, like it's kind of scattered, because you remember like Atari was making like, they kind of had a resurgence in the PS1 days where they had Centipede and Frogger, he's back.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
But it was like those people owned, I think it was I'm just kind of winging it here with what I'm talking about.
Well,
But it was like it was scattered, right?
Well, the Atari eventually got bought by a French company called Infogrames.
Yes.
And
yes.
I don't know whether or not the Atari of the Pong, I think it was called the Next Level.
Yeah.
And the Frogger 3D and all that. I don't know if that's the same Atari as the Nolan Bucknell Atari. But,
I don't think so.
But it's all changed, right? And
it's all changed, but
they're making speaker hats, like the last I heard, and hotels and some random Bitcoin venture, because it's not the same people they just bought. It's like Polaroid, right? It's like
yeah. But they do have they do have the Atari VCS system, and I know they do have a new CEO.
All right.
He's a younger guy, which is it's kind of nice to see like a younger generation taking the mantle and trying to do some cool stuff, but they're doing a lot of these things called like Yar's Revenge Recharged or Defender Recharged.
All right.
So they do have their line of games. They're doing like this sort of Atari Recharged thing where they do have it on the VCS and they do have it up on Steam, which is incredibly smart. Like to put it up on Steam is smart because, dude, I've been looking at the VCS. It is a little bit pricey. It's very pricey for what it can do, and that's fine if people want to buy it, but like it's around the $500 mark.
I guess, yeah. I suppose if your options, if you are someone with disposable income and you are going to buy a video game console, are you going to buy the Atari VCS?
Well, if you're a retro head, yes. If you don't have a Raspberry Pi, you'll get it because it has something where it comes preloaded with a bunch of like old school Atari games, right? So in that regards, cool. Then it's for you.
Oh my god. No.
I know,
I'm under siege.
I know this is a tough one. But
please, I was gonna say please go in. I guess my concern with I'm concerned. Concern's overstating it because I don't care one way or the other. I'm not.
We're all gonna die. It doesn't matter.
The heat death of the universe. My father is not Mr. Atari. I don't. So, but I guess I don't understand why there's any interest in playing on an Atari console. Like, who is going out? I mean, like, not for nothing, and I don't really want to go into this too much, but it's like how many times do we need to have a television amico situation before people say maybe actually the best way to do this thing is to just release our games on, like, whoever buys the branding, release our games on the PlayStation Store or the Nintendo eShop.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of egoism to all these people who seem to think, yes, well, I'll be the person who's going to restore Atari to their former glory. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I think the best thing that you can, sticking with the Atari thing, the best thing you can do with the brand like that is like, listen, dude, you're talking about, like, Atari was in the Blade Runner film, right?
Oh, yeah.
They had the branding.
It's iconic.
It's iconic. So it is like this piece of Americana where it's like, listen, preserve the games, make some new things, but like, don't think that you're going to be a system. Like, you can do it, but like, first and foremost, you're now just a developer, and having the system is a nice cherry on top of the cake for people who want it, right?
Sorry not to interrupt, but that's an iconic ending as well. The way it just
goes even more gray.
Goes even more gray. Should we continue one more? Let's say play one more period, keep the score at 8-4.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because I kind of want to remind myself how the colors of the other team look. Because I kind of really want to see what Toronto looks like.
You did pick two players, okay?
Yeah.
Let me do.
I'm not at all opposed. I'm not at all opposed to playing, like, I love the ColecoVision. I love it. I really do.
Yeah.
So, like, I love Carnival. I don't remember. I think it was a Sega game.
Yeah, it was.
But why do I need Carnival on a new ColecoVision? Another console that the company famously tried to reboot, right?
I think it's retro heads. The same reason why, these there's a lot of gamers that buy the classic Nintendo 40-in-1 or the Super Nintendo one, now people are getting very excited about the Sega, the new Sega preloaded system, right? But for me, I think for people like us, I think we look at that and it's like, it's nice that it exists. I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just not for me, right?
We're not immune to buying.
No, man, dude, I'll buy ridiculous stuff.
Well, and I'm not saying this is ridiculous, but you bought like the what is it called, the arcade 1-up cab?
Yeah, I bought the cabinet, and then I just bought, and like for the Taito, I bought the Taito Egret Mini.
Yeah,
and it's great. and I love it.
And is the Taito Eggert one the one that goes into like Tate mode? The screen rotates, or is that?
Yeah, so it rotates for like the ones that are more. I can't remember. I can't remember. I had to rotate it for. There was an aerial game. There was an airplane game where I'm like, okay, it's a longer screen, so I had to rotate it.
But that's great, and like maybe product discussion review coming up soon. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that for me is where these retro console reimagined versions need to go, as opposed to whatever the hell's happening with the Intellivision Amico. If you had a thing that played 2 or 3 games and had a little screen, repurposed Android screen, like a screen that would be used on an Android phone. Instead, a lot of these developers again seem to have a little bit of a god complex thing happening. Like, we can restore Atari and Intellivision and ColecoVision back to some semblance of a former glory, and it's like those days are gone.
It's playing off of the nostalgia, but I think what Atari's doing, it's interesting to see. I think first and foremost, like, it feels like, okay, like they're smart enough to be putting the games that they're making up on Steam. They're not going to keep it exclusive to the system, because it's like, who's going to go out and spend $500? There will be people. I know that there's people, because I've seen the reviews and they're happy, but it's like, that's not the world that we're in anymore.
It's the retro games market. We need to just, those of us who are in it need to accept that it's a boutique market, right? It is. It's like Criterion Blu-rays, or to a lesser extent, but it's like it's in a similar category of people spending their disposable income rather than going to a bar or what have you, right? So the idea, so if they can sell the consoles for $500 a pop, maybe that's good enough. But they're not framing. A lot of these companies aren't framing it that way, right? They're framing it like everyone's got to have it. It's the second coming of the Nintendo Wii, which is like part of the Intellivision Amico's pitch, and that doesn't seem realistic or valuable.
No, it's what the sad thing about this is. I don't think you're ever gonna find a video game system under. Don't quote me on this.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think you're ever going to find a system for under like $350 ever again. With the cost of material and all this stuff, it's like, you got to think about it.
Global part shortages as well, right? That we're maybe coming out of in the next couple of years. But even then...
But that's why, so I was like checking out the Atari VCS, and I'm like, you know what? I would buy it if I had tons of money. But like, it's pricey, but then I'm like, but it isn't, because of the cost of all this stuff. It's like, it's all going up, and I'm just like, but I just had to come to this realization where I'm like, I don't think it doesn't matter, man. Like, you're never gonna get those prices again.
No.
You're never gonna get the $199 PS1 bundle ever again. Like,
with Crash Bandicoot and
with Crash Bandicoot 3 and a memory card.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, and Sony, they're talking about raising the prices of the PS5.
Right. I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me,
Well, because they want to get. The reality is, they want to get more systems to market. With that price point and with the cost of material, they cannot do it.
It's probably, I mean, they probably won't go...
They won't go exponentially higher, but I think the question is going to be like, hey, people, are you willing to spend an extra $250 to walk into a Walmart?
Well, they might smuggle it in...
To see it there.
Well, it might be the return of a bundle, you know what I mean? Like, rather than selling the console for $5.99 or whatever it is, they might sell it for, like the Horizon Zero... Not Zero Dawn, whatever the new one is called. And they might release it as part of a bundle and smuggle the price increase that way. I think people are really sensitive to price, and I think that's really is one of the downfalls. And it's also perceived value, right? If you... Part of the issue with like the Atari consoles,
well,
it doesn't seem like it's worth your money there.
With the VCS, they're not making, obviously, like, not as much as Sony's making the PS5s, but it's like, in Sony's case, the smart thing to do, if it was possible, is they would make a PS5 Slim. But they are nowhere near in the timeline of like how they usually work. Usually like 5 to 6 years after, they'll do a PS2 Slim, the PS1, PS3 Slim. They're nowhere near that.
Yeah.
To even start thinking about that, where it's just like they got to. I think they're gonna have to raise the price, man, and that's it.
It's a really tough balance to find yourself in. If you're if you're a gamer and you're trying to figure out, you know, what your market is and the type of games you want to play, you really are stuck in a rock and a hard place. I mean, looks like the retro game market is starting to maybe take a little bit of a dip. But if you're into retro games or modern games, looks like you're more or less going to be paying more than you would have done 10-15 years ago, which is why, just to say as a little bit of a closing note maybe for this Hat-Trix, is that it's kind of part of the reason why you know, on this channel we're so big into emulation, because
it's like our final option to actually want to enjoy these things without breaking the bank or waiting, right?
And certainly, you know, I own a copy of Blades of Steel. I don't own a copy of Intellivision Hockey, and I certainly don't own a copy of Street Hockey, but quite often the games that you would end up buying are $multi-hundred, and games are increasingly sliding out of the reach of people to play, and that's a real shame. So, you know, in the end, I always come down to the position like, play them however you can.
Yeah, if you really want to play them however you can, which maybe as a bookend is kind of like, in a nice way, it's nice that like a thing like the Atari VCS works, because it's like, seriously though, for that young kid who maybe wants to get into it, it's cool for them.
Yeah.
If they don't know a lot about computers, they don't have to worry about setting stuff up for like a, you know, Raspberry Pi. And if you're an older guy or girl, it's like, yeah, it's like the way that you remembered, it's all here for you for just one price, and that's it. You don't have to worry about it after.
Relive a little bit of your past.
Yeah, so,
or at least the wood grained version of it.
Yeah.
Dusty, until next time.
Until next time. This was tight.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot better than I thought, and
definitely a game that I could see us revisiting again.
Yeah, I'm gonna practice.
See ya.